I remember one day in gym class, I couldn't figure out why the dodgeball was getting bigger and bigger, and then it hit me. Hey, shh! Welcome back, everyone, to Not Another Needless Sequel, where we talk movies and propose unnecessary prequels, sequels, reboots, and remakes. I'm your host, Kane, and today I have with me my wife, Kelsey.
F and A, Cotton. F and A.
Kelsey will be my co host as we discuss 2004's Dodgeball, a true underdog story. So, what is the story of these underdogs?
An owner of a gym is under threat to have his gym foreclosed upon unless he can raise $50,000 in, is it like a month, 30 days? And so him and some other friends from the gym enter a dodgeball tournament.
I mean, that about covers it. When the movie opens up, the very first thing you see is an ass. And I just was sitting there watching it. This ass pops up on screen, and I just thought, this is cinema. This is really what I've come
Yeah.
for.
It's a commercial.
It does
For a
turn out
frame
to
of
be.
reference, if somebody hasn't watched this movie, I do recommend watching the movie prior to this. However, if you haven't, it's a commercial.
Yes. It's
not bare either. It's
no,
clothed.
it is a clothed ass, but it's a commercial for Globo Gym. It's the introduction to Ben Stiller's character, White Goodman. And he's just, he's just basically like, are you tired of being a fat fucking piece of shit?
I mean, yeah, I think I'm going to preface this before we keep going and because there's lots of references. I don't think this movie aged well, and they are very fat phobic in this movie because he says obesity is a disease that you have no control over, much like baldness or necrophilia.
He says ugliness and fatness are genetic disorders.
Much like baldness and necrophilia.
Yeah.
It's so bad. It got so dark, and I've seen this movie countless times.
And I swear I've never heard him say necrophilia.
No, I hadn't either. I rewound it twice.
Yeah, you were like, did he really
I
say
was
that?
like, he did, because I think before, I watch movies and I pay attention, but I feel like the more you watch movies, the more you notice, and also when I watch them for this, I'm taking notes, and so I'm thoroughly
you're watching it in a critical way versus just I'm gonna put this on to enjoy it. And especially if you've seen something before and you're not watching it for this type of environment, you're barely paying attention at times. You can get on your phone, you can just walk away, grab a drink, whatever. But I have found that doing this podcast has made me even more critical of movies than before.
I agree.
But yeah, he's just shit talking. And I know you said it's very fat phobic. I think of all the things that didn't age well, not that that aged well, but that one is kind of almost the point, is that Ben Stiller's character is like that.
Phobic, and the average Joe's is
it's very much
not
the
like
opposite.
that. Yeah, no, I agree, but there's just a lot of fat phobic comments. I mean, we'll get more into it later, but yes, certain jokes in this movie did not age well, and when I watched it, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
Well, from that commercial for Globo Gym, it goes to Peter LaFleur's apartment, and you see he's very much the opposite. He's, just kind of, they play him like he's a schlub. And also, it's super gross. He wakes up from his dog licking his grundle, as he calls it.
His grundle.
And even as soon as the dog started, I was like, why is this a scene?
Yeah.
In fact, you never see the dog again. They solely brought it in to be like, lick him.
Yeah, it was probably Vince Vaughn's actual pet or something.
It's probably Vince Vaughn's idea, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think what's even worse is you're supposed to see that he's not well put together and all of this. And for frame of reference, he wakes up, walks from the couch. He has a bedroom. He has a house.
Mm-hmm.
Walks to the fridge, grabs a bottle of Yoo-Hoo, and then proceeds to brush his teeth with this bottle of Yoo-Hoo.
I was so focused on the dog, I didn't even notice that.
You did it. It was so bad. He's carrying it. He's drinking it. He's in there brushing his teeth, and then to rinse his mouth, he puts the Yoo-Hoo in his mouth.
Oh.
Yeah, so he brushes his teeth with Yoo-Hoo. And for me, what is Yoo-Hoo? Is it chocolate water?
That's what I've always been told, but also I don't know if I've ever had.
I don't think I've ever had Yoo-Hoo either. We were chocolate milk people.
I just wasn't allowed to have it, but I had Nesquik powder mix.
Yeah, my mom would get us Nesquik, and then when she decided she didn't want to buy Nesquik anymore, it was Hershey's chocolate syrup and milk. And
I think the Nesquik powder's so much better than the syrup.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I feel like
And
the syrup
then
makes a different consistency.
and then we would go to the donut shop, the local donut shop, and just buy like bottled milk or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I can say I've never had a Yoo-hoo.
Yeah.
It
Well,
just looked like chocolate
I mean,
water.
that's disgusting that he's
Yeah.
doing any of that. And so he goes to work, I guess. He's leaving his house. You can see he's got this piece of shit car, and it breaks down some point between
Yeah.
his house
But
and
speaking of cars, he talks to his car and
Does
says,
he?
"I'm proud of you. It's gonna be a good
Oh
day."
yeah, he does, yeah.
And it just made me think of your car, Agnes.
Oh yeah.
Like it was such a miracle that she ever started.
I know. She was good to me.
She was good
But
to you.
his car breaks down, and you see there was people pushing it for him, and I was thinking, like, how did you get these guys to push it? He didn't pay them because he has no money.
Yeah.
And two, get out of the fucking car and help push.
Yeah, I know.
You're
He
literally
was
gonna
like,
sit in
"Thanks,
there
everyone."
just guiding
He's
it.
adding 200 plus pounds to
Yes.
what these people
He's
are
a
pushing.
big man.
Yeah,
Like,
he is. He's like 6'5" or something. I
yeah,
think.
get
He's
out of the
super
car.
tall.
You open the door, you stick your hand through the window,
I
something,
agree.
but he just has them pushing.
Man, I
Like,
agree.
good guys, I guess. So he goes into Average Joe's. You can see that it's not the same as Globo Gym in any way. You don't have people in matching outfits. They're not all doing these perfect workouts. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's average people just trying to get a workout in, and it's slowly introducing each character. You see Gordon, who's like one of my favorite characters. I feel like Gordon was really going at it. He's in there, he's talking about I'm doing different machines, keep the body, guessing, and he says like, I've been reading OSQ, Obscure Sports Quarterly. Yeah, so he's going around meeting all the people that are going to be the main characters. He talks to Justin Long's character, Justin. Or I swear, I feel like he's played a lot of Justins in movies, but I don't know. Anyway, he's going to die on that machine, Justin. Like, he's all wrapped up in like this Bowflex machine.
Yeah.
Like, he's on the brink of death, and one of these days they're gonna come in, he's gonna have hung himself on that machine. Like, he needs to stop.
Well, we see by the end that he comes through.
That's true. We get a little bit of his backstory as well. He's kind of like, I'd say, one of the bigger secondary characters because he has this side story of he's working out because he wants to be able to join this cheerleading squad
At his high
for
school.
for the girl that he likes that's the head cheerleader or something. And they show how he failed last time. It's a fucked up scene of them just... They do this girl so dirty. They have her come out with braces.
No, literally, this is what I typed in my note now that you said that. They did the girl from All That dirty.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said. Like...
Mm-hmm. And, she fell on top of him, and I can just say, like, some dudes would pay for that. Don't act like it's the worst thing in the world. Some dudes would fucking kill for that.
Also, like, what I can see is, like, you can tell she's a larger girl, right? And she wasn't going to make the squad regardless. So why did he not make the squad for not being able to lift this very large person with one hand?
I mean, all just for the story,
like,
I guess. There's not a lot.
Like, I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me. But yeah, they did that girl from All That so dirty.
Yeah, they tried to make her so terrible, and it was mean. But anyway, as he's met all of the people, he goes into his office, and he meets Kate, and they have a discussion about his gym's gonna be foreclosed on.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't really fully understand what even is the problem besides the fact that he's not been getting money. You see that as he's talking to these different people, like the pirate, Steve the pirate is like, oh, I'm gonna be short, and he's like, don't worry about it. And that was one thing I did think about him, is that he seems like a nice guy in that sense, is that he cares about all these people. He's going to each individual person in the gym and saying like, hey, how's it going today?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Knows them all on a first name basis. I think it's later, in a later scene though, she talks about how he hasn't collected membership fees in 13 months.
Yes.
And it's just like, I just feel like he's trying to help the people out, but essentially he hasn't been making his like mortgage payment or rent payments. I don't know if he owns the building. I'm assuming if she says foreclosed, that's
that
he would own it.
Oh, he
and
would.
He's missing his mortgage payments. However,
oh well, yeah. Then the bank owns it.
Then the bank would own it. But this is crazy, and I'll get to why I know this. But when it goes to saying White Goodman is going to pay the $50,000. So I think what happened was White saw that it was like in its like warning period, and you can go and pay the bank like the mortgage payment or the taxes or something that somebody's not paying, and then it gives them a notice, and if they don't pay it within X amount of time, they no longer own it, and the person who paid the taxes owns it, which is essentially what White Goodman is doing.
I guess he would know because it does show Average Joe's is quite literally across the street from Globo Gym. It doesn't even look like a real street. It's like an alleyway.
He wants it to be a parking lot.
Yes. So he goes into his office. He meets Kate for that discussion. He's gross to her. I'll just say that now. I'll come back to that a few times. But one of the first things he says to this woman in his office is something like, "Oh, I didn't know it was my birthday." Like, don't say that, you gross weirdo.
Yeah.
So he goes to meet White about the meeting or about the foreclosure stuff right after that discussion with Kate. And look, White Goodman's obviously a dick the whole movie. He's like very negative about people and their bodies and stuff like that. But also, it sounds like Peter did everything to him. When they're having that first discussion, he's like, which I don't know, he says like, "You slept with 3 of my female trainers." I don't know why that's a problem for you. You shouldn't care. But also, then he's like, "You sent me a male stripper," and like, well, what did you do to him? Because Peter doesn't say anything. He's just like, "Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna continue to come back to this, but I have my thoughts about Peter LaFleur. I think he's not the greatest guy." So anyway, White is not. I keep wanting to say Dwight because White to me is like not a name.
What? What?
What?
What?
White Goodman is not willing to listen to Peter because of their history. He doesn't care. He's just ready to buy this gym, turn it into a parking garage. And they decide over at Average Joe's they're going to try and do a car wash for money. And it turns out on the same day they're doing this car wash, there's another car wash with girls, which is the stereotypical like girls in bikinis washing your car, putting their bodies up against your windshield and whatnot. That's been in a lot of movies, and I can honestly say I'd be so stressed out they're gonna break my glass and be like, "Can you not lean against this? Like, please back off. Can you just
back off?" Yeah.
In fact,
just watch the car.
Yeah, just watch the car.
Come over here. Yeah, I get it. I just don't understand why they were all in Speedos.
Well, they were trying to do the same sexy thing, but nobody.
Oh, it didn't look good.
Well,
it did not look good on them. Except that one guy that picked his belly button.
He liked it.
Yeah,
and they said he kept paying him. I say let him keep paying.
I know. He keeps paying Justin to wash his tires.
Yeah. Let him do it.
And he was like, Justin was like scarily like on his hands and knees washing the tires.
Which is actually, it's even grosser when you think about the fact that Justin's supposed to be a high schooler.
He's like 16 or 17. I think he's only a junior.
Yeah. Also, another point to Peter not being a great guy is he says, "I'm going to go over there and congratulate each one of those girls individually." You're gross. Stop. Stop what you're doing. Just leave those girls alone. You know, you guys failed. Go home. So the car wash doesn't work, and Peter decides he's going to give up, basically. He's throwing beers to everyone, saying, "Hey, we had a good run." And then Gordon proposes that they play dodgeball, and it's because he was reading his, Obscure Sports Quarterly.
OSQ, for short.
Yes, he was reading OSQ, and he's like, "I can't believe I didn't think of it."
That's when it cuts to Kate Beach going and seeing White because he requested her to come. They all agree to play.
Yeah, okay, so they all agree to play dodgeball, and then Kate and White get together. He's in there with his donut and
I think it's a piece of pizza.
No, that's later. First, it's the donut, and he has the car battery
batteries
hooked up to his nipples.
Yeah.
He's like, "You want this donut, fat boy?" And he's zapping himself.
Yeah.
Michelle comes to tell him Kate's coming. He's like, "Give me 10 minutes, or
30 seconds.
30 seconds, send her in." He puts away the donut and pumps up his crotch full of air.
Yeah, puts his tank top zip up on.
Yeah, and gets the
dictionary and runs upstairs.
He comes down, he's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were coming." And she's like, "You asked me to."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Are you reading the dictionary?" He's like, "You caught me. I like to break a sweat mentally as well."
Yeah.
Like, stop.
So gross,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, absolutely disgusting. I think what's worse about that is, like, he continues to make, like, nasty comments.
Mhm.
And she's, like, very obviously deflecting them away. And he, like, doesn't realize it. And he's like, "What can I say? I'm white. WHIT." And she looks at him like, "Are you going to finish that?" And he goes, "E."
He does such a dumb laugh. I remember noticing that too. Ben Stiller does an amazing job of playing this kind of character.
Yeah, this dude is such a freak.
It's like a continuation of his character from Heavyweights.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he says like, "Oh, don't think of me as your boss." And like he was trying to date her. She's like, "Well, I don't. The bank pays me."
Yeah.
But
ipso facto, I'm your boss.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. But he asked her, he's like, "We should mate."
Yeah.
And she goes,
Ugh.
"Excuse me?" And he goes, "Date. we should go out on a date sometime, kick it. And she's like, pukes in her mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like, sorry, I just threw up in my mouth. And he goes, in some countries, they only eat vomit.
Yeah, he's like, I've never been there.
And it's hilarious because he like doesn't realize that she's completely repulsed by him.
Oh, God.
It's so uncomfortable, so nasty.
When she leaves too, he like pulls the plug on his inflated crotch and like you hear the wind
he's
going
like so
out.
disappointed. He's like,
yeah. I mean, even if she was into it, she would have seen eventually that you've pumped up your crotch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Exactly. I think, do you think that it made it easier that Kate Veach was Ben Stiller's wife?
Yes, because he didn't have to feel gross about anything he was doing. You can just say these things and laugh about it later. Or maybe she was into it.
I mean, maybe. But yeah, I think it made it easier too. I would have like died laughing. Imagine us filming a scene like that and then like... Yeah. I would still be like... I'd puke in my mouth too.
God. Well, so... it goes back to the average Joes. They're watching the Dodgeball instructional video. And I did see during my research that the entire cast played Dodgeball for about a month before the filming began. Like, they actually were out there trying to, like, physically do this. And according to many of the cast members, the hardest part was trying not to flinch when a ball was coming at you, because that wouldn't look good for the movie, And you can see them trying their hardest to, like, not flinch. They're like,
Man, it kind of makes me want to see it again.
I mean, they're really throwing those balls at each other.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It really makes me want to see the movie again because I didn't notice the flinching.
Yeah, I mean, they did what they could to cut it out here and there, and they tried, but I thought that was interesting that they actually did that, and it wasn't just... I guess it'd be hard to replace them with stunt doubles the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. That's where you also get introduced to Patches in the 5Ds of Dodgeball.
Yeah, because he was the guy in that original video.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
When they are watching that video, it starts off with that little kid, and the announcer says, "Why don't you take a break from that fine lead-based paint?" I thought that was so good.
That is good.
And, the kid's, he's got the dumbest, like, he's like, "Jeepers, mister, you scared me."
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
And then he's like, "See, you make sure you pick the big, strong kids first, and then leave the small and weaker kids for the other team."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and...
I think that's supposed to be, like, a foreshadowing to Average Joe's versus Global Gym later, though. I mean, they probably didn't think that much into it, but...
Well, so they do their little bit of training there at Average Joe's from that video. First of all, Peter doesn't even stay with them. I thought, what a dick. He immediately, after the video's over, he's like, "All right, guys, well, I'll be in my office." And they're like, "All right, well, we're going to practice to make the 50,000 for your fucking gym. But sure, you go in your office." And he goes in there to flirt with fucking Kate. Why is she there? He's like, "Don't you have an office?" She's like, "Oh, I do. It's very nice, but I don't have all of this financial paperwork."
I think she has to go through the financial records to prep
No
it.
fucking way. That would be his job. That's not her job. If he can't provide those documents, that's on his ass. No. Peter's just continuing to be a piece of fucking shit. It also shows that they are being spied on by the cutout of White that's in the gym, which... I meant to say earlier, when they first walk in and see that cutout, how the fuck did that cutout get in there?
I don't know, but also in a later scene, I noticed that there's, like, you can see a camera taped to the back of it.
It's taped to the back? I thought the eyes were recording the whole time.
Yeah, but, like, the camera part is taped to the back with, like, the camera going through the holes.
They didn't even see it? Like,
yeah.
And they moved it.
Yeah. I just think this movie has some plot holes.
Well, anyway, they're spying on them, and he's all pissed off about the fact that they're going to play dodgeball. And I thought, like, why would he even care? He thinks of them as absolute losers. Why would he think that they would even have a chance of winning this dodgeball thing? Like, just ignore it. Just be like, well, that's a fucking stupid idea. So they go for the first dodgeball qualifier match against the fucking Girl Scouts, and
to be 417 or something.
Something like that. Also, you see Gordon's wife. It's a small scene. Gordon's wife fucking hates him.
Yeah, she's mail order.
Still, what a bitch. Anyway.
I have so much to say about this dodgeball match.
This one, the one against
so I'm going to let you get through it, and then I'll give you all of my notes.
So I thought it was weird that the Girl Scouts were wearing Girl Scout uniforms, because I know they have to wear matching uniforms, which that probably doesn't matter for the qualifier match. I don't know. But again, what a terrible choice for your outfit. You have on this skirt. You can't move real well in that.
I think it's a skirt. I feel like it's a skirt.
Maybe, but still, it's long. It's long. It's got to be restricting their knees, and I just don't think that they really thought that through.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they fucking lose against them, and Peter's like, "You're adopted. Your parents don't even love you."
Yeah.
And like, I saw a behind the scenes thing, and he said like 17 different insults to them, and I guess they just went with that one. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much kind of the end of that until they're announcing the winner, and then they end up winning by default because one of the Girl Scouts was taking a bunch of drugs
Low
and
grade beaver tranquilizers.
yes,
Yeah.
and they look and it shows this dude that well, excuse me if it's not a dude. I believe it's a dude dressed up as a girl. Yeah, she starts crying. They're like, "God
Yeah.
damn it, Bernice."
Yeah, so here's the thing. At the end of the match, that girl that received the beaver tranquilizers was not of the 6 at the beginning when they walked in, and she was not one of the 6 celebrating the win, nor was she one of the 6 that played. That person only showed up for the award ceremony. I rewound it twice.
Yeah, even worse.
Did you notice that?
I didn't think. I thought I was like, I didn't notice this dude
yeah,
on.
no,
the field.
I was like, there's no way. I rewound
Yeah,
it.
I would have seen. Like,
so like plot hole. Then they go to the bar to celebrate their qualifying for the Vegas match, and the name of the bar is the Dirty Sanchez, and
Didn't
it
like
says
that.
Pub Grub Club on the side, and I just feel like I felt dirty after like seeing that and gross, and I was like, of course they would go to a nasty place like this. I don't even know where this movie is supposed to take place.
I have no idea either. I don't know if they ever said it or I ever paid attention. I know they go to Las Vegas, but also there's not like a flight scene, so I don't know, do they already live there or anyway. Also, another question about that when they're at the bar. Why is Kate there? Why is Kate obsessed with them for no reason?
Yeah, I know, because she showed up at the match, remember?
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, you're obsessed with me." Yeah, very obviously. She's a fucking weirdo. She's supposed to be here for this, and she's literally in love with you for no reason.
I know.
But sure. Anyway, they're at the bar. White shows up. He shit talks them. He like throws or he fucking pushes a waitress into them. Like, he's terrible.
It's about to get messy.
Yeah, he's awful. He comes there just to tell them he's gonna win, and he got in because he knows, or he helped somebody that's involved with the dodgeball stuff, like, lose weight.
I think it's the Chancellor, which turns out to be William Shatner.
I thought that. Later on, I was like, is that who he said? William Shatner? He helped William Shatner lose?
Yeah, the Dodgeball Chancellor help him shed some unwanted poundage before beach season.
Ugh.
So, yeah. Also, I don't know if I ever noticed before, but you can see Patches in the background at the bar having a drink.
I did see that, yeah.
And I don't know if I've noticed that before, but he had to have been at the match to see them. So he's, like, following Peter around, which is also creepy.
Yeah, and he comes up to them outside of the bar, or up to Peter, and he says some shit like, what a terrible match that was. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I skipped over one of my notes that I was really excited to talk about from the bar. When White walks up to them, and he's introducing his team. He's like, this is Blade, Laser, Blazer. And Blazer is the quarterback from Mr. Deeds. The one that
it is.
He's like, goes into
No, Daddy, no!
Yes, that guy.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is he? He looks familiar. But now I know he's the guy that came in there yelling at him and talking shit. But
I think something also of note is when it introduces Fran, the deadliest woman on earth, with the dodgeball.
She kills someone.
She kills somebody, number one, but number two, it shows Owen falling in love.
Yes.
Which that comes up later, an important part of the final match.
Apparently there was a cut scene. Well, I'll come back to that. But yeah, she is like showing off and she throws a dodgeball, just murders a dude in the bar. Mm-hmm. It's just the wild fucking West in here.
It is the Wild West.
So back to Patches.
Yeah, Patches is like, my name's Patches O'Houlihan. Yeah,
I'm your new coach. Like, who asked for this?
And then like it cuts to the next day when they're talking about the 5 Ds of dodgeball, and he's like, well, that's what the sack of wrenches is for. So I just want to say, like, obviously Justin gets smoked in the face with a wrench. Pretty sure that would break a bone.
Well, so, I mean, obviously for the movie, these were all rubber wrenches that the prop department made. But Justin Long's eyebrow actually did get split open by the first wrench that they threw. Like, it was rubber, but it was just harder than the rest of them.
I mean, yeah.
Like, they must have felt so bad. But, yeah. You're throwing wrenches. Also, you see him making them dodge cars. A wrench, a car, and a dodgeball, very different speeds.
I don't know. I love the training montage. Like, I don't even care. That's the best part of the movie is the training montage. And then Kate comes into the picture.
Well, she walks in, the ball like goes flying away from them. She picks it up. It's the stereotypical thing in sports movies where the team that you've been watching loses the ball, and then some stranger on the outside grabs the ball, and then the team is like, little help, and then the stranger throws the ball in such an amazing way that they're like, oh, they're perfect.
Yeah.
Like, so she throws it and she's like, yeah, softball. Like, get the fuck out of here. You just took off the head of this damn.
She's like 8 years of softball. And first off, they make too many lesbian jokes, okay? They
say it the whole time.
They say the softball thing, and then what's the guy's name? He goes, softball, she must be a lesbian. Dwight. And then
that's why I keep wanting to say Dwight when I say White,
yeah,
because there is a Dwight in the movie.
Yeah, and then freaking Patches goes, Billie Jean King said no. Like, that's, and I never heard that before, and maybe it's because I didn't know who Billie Jean King was. I've learned that since I last watched this movie, which was years ago, and I was just like, this is too many lesbian jokes, like, it's too much.
And also, that when they're asking him to, or they're asking Kate to join the team, Peter, again, showing he's a piece of shit, says, put your mouth where our balls are. What a gross thing to say to somebody.
I know.
But Michelle, right before she throws that, is watching the camera and sees that she threw the ball and she's helping them, or, well, she's not even helping them, but you know. And Michelle prints out a picture to bring to White. Why the fuck did you have the video. Why are you printing out a piece of paper to show to White?
I have no idea, and this is the pizza scene.
Yes, he walks in on him and he's fucking pizza. He's got it in his pants.
It's got it in his drawers, and he's like hot and bothered by this pepperoni pizza. Yeah. He's like, whoa, sorry, sir.
He's like, why? What was so important that you had to interrupt me during my personal reflection time?
Yeah, it's so disgusting.
Like, it was no problem when he walked in on you with the fucking donut and nipple clamps, but this, anyway, that was fucking disgusting. The next thing that we see is that White is going to Kate's house. Super creepy and uncomfortable. He knocks on the door. She's like, how do you even know where I live? And he says something like, it's the Public Information Act. And it's like, ew. It doesn't matter what it is. You looked up her address, and he's there to give her the good news that she's fired. So now they can date. And she's pissed off, obviously. She is like, get the fuck out of here. He doesn't want to leave. But then Peter shows up, makes him leave. First of all, again, Peter's not the good guy. Why are you here? You're just as creepy. You also looked up her address, because how the fuck would you know where she lives? On top of that, once White leaves, he just walks in. Yeah, he doesn't ask her, he walks past her, and she's like, oh, wait. And then there's like a weird, like, unicorns everywhere, and she's like, I like unicorns. What a weird scene. It came out of nowhere. But yeah, Peter's a fucking creep for showing up like that as well.
I personally loved seeing White get smoked in the face, though. Like, he got what he deserved, making him bleed. He's like, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Mm-hmm. Nobody. Yeah.
That is a good scene. And he goes back to his car, and I think it's Michelle driving.
It's the motorcycle. They're on like a moped.
Yeah, he gets on the back. He's much smaller, obviously.
Flips him off. Yeah. He's like at less than half the size as Michelle.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so when Peter's in there with Kate, he's trying to get her to join the team again, and he's like, gives her a card that says free back rub from Peter. Again, I'm telling you, Peter's a disgusting piece of shit.
Says you play your cards right, that could turn into a full body.
Mm-hmm. Disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote the same thing down. It is creepy. Next is they go to the dodgeball tournament.
Yes, once Kate agrees, they go to the dodgeball tournament. You meet the ESPN announcers, which I think might just be the best part of the movie.
I agree with
Jason Bateman and Gary Cole.
Yeah.
Like, they're fucking hilarious. Apparently they had to re-record their lines a bunch because the plot kept kind of changing, but they fucking nailed it.
They did. You know, in the montage when they're all getting like dressed and players are walking by and you can hear announcers before you meet Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
In the background, it says all players must be vaccinated for cholera, shingles, and syphilis before play begins. Dyslexic players will not be allowed on the court.
Why?
Like, there is no vaccine for cholera or syphilis.
I didn't know.
Those do not exist. Cholera is a foodborne illness.
Oh, it's one of those highbrow jokes for you smart types, huh? I had no idea.
And shingles vaccines, you don't get until you're 50. And people now probably don't even need the shingles vaccines because you only get vaccinated for shingles if you've had the chicken pox.
Well, I had no idea. I laughed at the syphilis one.
Syphilis does not have a vaccine either.
Well, I laughed because I was like, why would they, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know. And then, obviously the dyslexic players, but I was just like, what the dumbest line. I've never heard them say that before. I've never noticed it. And I'm, intently watching, and I'm like, cholera? Yeah. None of this makes any sense.
Yeah, it's a different movie altogether when you're actually trying to pay attention to things like that. On top of that, you see that the ESPN channel that is hosting this is called ESPN
8, the Ocho.
Yes. Now, I thought, well, so it's not really a real channel. It's that every year around the same time, ESPN changes its name of one of its channels to that for, I guess, this movie. But they were also making fun of ESPN in the first place because ESPN2 used to be ESPN2 The Deuce.
Yes, it did.
And gross. So they're making fun of that, which, what a gross name and stupid anyway. Yeah. And I thought that was funny. But you start seeing all the other teams that they're going to go against. A bunch of them show up front and center, the names of the teams. But I paused it and looked at the board. And I just want to read off some of my favorite names.
Okay.
We have MILFs. It's M.I.L.
Yeah, I think they play them later.
Maybe. There's Moose Knuckles.
Ew.
Their symbol, in fact, for Moose Knuckles is a close-up of a man's shorts.
Disgusting.
With a visible moose knuckle. The Clown Punchers. Mulchers. She-Mullets. Cousins. That's spelled Cuzzins. Doomballs. Dangerous Furies. Or Furries. It was kind of hard to read that one. Skills That Kills.
That's who they play later. Skills That Kills. Yes. They don't play the MILFs.
And Las Vegas PD.
Yeah, the Las Vegas PD is who...
They go up against Globo Gym.
Yeah.
But I was just reading some of these names, and that was killing me.
MILFs is my favorite.
Also, when it's showing all that, the ADAA screen, it says at the bottom, "Go balls deep." That's their, motto, which you can't do that. You can't have that on live TV.
Pretty gross.
So, they do their first match, and they have their matching outfits, but I guess they got the wrong box, and they have the BDSM clubs, outfits, and they just decide to go with it. I guess they had to, because old boy said he threw the old ratty ones away.
I just want to go back to the match. Okay, you see the match, and Peter comes back in at the end, and him and Kate win the match for the team, right?
Yeah.
But Gordon is the first player eliminated in that match. Mm-hmm. So he should have been the one to come back in when Kate caught the ball.
I was wondering that. When he came back, I was like, is there no rules on who's supposed to come back?
No, there is rules.
Did you look these rules up, or are you just a professional dodgeball?
I'm just a professional dodgeballer. Okay.
Well,
look it up. I know it's
they
true.
Couldn't have that.
They They explain it in the Patches O'Houlihan video, I think.
Maybe. Isn't that also the team they go against that's coached by David Hasselhoff?
Yes. When Team Blitzkrieg Blakes, they go, Hasselhoff.
And he yells at them. He calls them losers. And he smashes the mixer on the ground.
Got a Schweiner. Something, yeah.
Oh, my God. So, they win that first match, and... Justin also runs into Amber as they're celebrating and leaving.
Yes.
Amber, which that'll come back later, but I did want to mention that she is there. They do make note to tell you that Amber and the cheerleading squad are there in Las Vegas for their own tournament. And he sees the guy that Amber's with. I don't fucking remember his name. But Dwight is like, maybe he'll fall off that roller coaster and break every bone in his body. He does. Later on, that's what they say. They're like, he broke every bone in his body.
Didn't he say it happened to my cousin's somebody's boyfriend? He's like, boop, dead.
Yep. So, Patches, or no, that first they do the follow-up montage, they show them going through a few different matches. The fucking LAPD, or no, it's Las Vegas PD. Mm-hmm. When they go up against them, I love that they all had on Oakley glasses.
They did. They did. Another thing is at the end of that montage, they show how their average Joe's is struggling and about to lose against Skills That Kills. And they call a timeout. Mm-hmm. And Gordon is the only one left. and then it pans to his son, and David Hasselhoff is flirting, smooching on, and like
was it David Hasselhoff? I thought it was just some guy.
I think it's David Hasselhoff.
Either way,
is smooching on his wife.
Yeah,
and
he wins the entire match. Fucking kills it.
But it just made me have a flashback to Office Space when he was like, "I'll burn this whole place to the ground." I was like, he did just burn the whole place to the ground in Dodgeball form.
Well, so in a deleted scene, actually, when that match is over, his wife comes out and is like, "I love you," and he says, "I want a divorce." And I'm like, why did you cut that out? I need that win for my man Gordon.
I know, they had the minutes too.
And the kids cheer. Like, they're like, yes, like they're excited about it.
I wonder what happened to their mom.
I don't know. I don't know if he ever even mentions it. Before the next thing that's going to happen, at some point, Patches gives Peter a sweat rag. I don't know.
It was after the first match.
Yeah, so he's like, he gives it to him, and Peter's like, I can't accept this. Patches like, yeah, no shit, it's this dirty, stained sweat rag. Like, who the fuck wants this? Anyway, then, after, like, the montage of matches, they're walking through the casino again, and Patches gets crushed.
Yeah, they said, we can actually win, and Teeter goes, as long as we've got Patches, we've got a shot. Boom, the luck of the Irish falls and kills Patches.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And that moment after that is honestly pretty sad. Like, Steve the Pirate goes to drain the sea monster, and then...
He does say that.
Yeah. I gotta go drain your sea monster. Mm-hmm. And then Peter is mean to him after he makes the deal with White. I guess we should talk about that first.
Well, yeah, so when he goes to his apartment, he sees White there, and when... When White is sitting in the seat and Peter, like, goes there, Michelle comes out of the bathroom and White says, Michelle is having some digestive issues. I hope you don't mind. Like, he went in there and used his fucking bathroom, and Peter's like, can you close that?
And he's like, no. To keep the lighting in the dark room.
Yeah.
Like...
So, and then White's like, offering him $100,000. He's like, I don't know if you've ever seen $100,000. And they open the briefcase, and it's just one
It's a single stack of money, yeah.
And, like, I think a real $100,000 would be like 2 or 3 stacks, but still, it wouldn't be like movies typically show you an entire briefcase, and I thought that was hilarious. So Peter accepts the deal, and then he basically like just gives up on them for no reason. Like, he's just an absolute dickhead for no reason. I didn't understand why he decided to be a dick to them. He goes back to the bar where they're trying to figure out what to do, and he's just like, I don't know. And then he throws Steve the Pirate against the wall and is like, you're not a pirate. Like, just an absolute piece of shit for zero reason.
I agree with that. I wrote that down as well. I was like, that's the saddest thing in the movie is when he's mean to Steve the Pirate.
And then Steve the Pirate's walking down the strip and people are like, watch it, freak. Somebody throws something at him. No fucking way on the Las Vegas Strip would anyone even notice Steve the Pirate, let alone say something. There's all kinds of shit going on that strip.
I agree wholeheartedly. And then it pans to the next day where they're all heading to the match. Kate notices Peter has checked out of the hotel and is going to be gone. They're talking about it, saying that Owen's going to have to play. And then Justin gets pulled aside by Amber because...
He apparently knows the routine. Why would he know the routine?
I know.
He didn't make tryouts.
He's a center cute beat with me. If we don't have the center cute beat, we can't do the routine.
There's no reason why he would know it. But she brings him.
And so he's gone too. And then it pans to the airport, right? Where Peter is sitting at the bar with Lance Armstrong. And like that entire Lance Armstrong being in the movie didn't age well.
How many athletes do you think they asked before somebody said yes? How many different athletes?
I think they did. I think just Lance Armstrong, only because he did have cancer and did overcome it.
And you think they wanted it for that joke, just to be like, you're giving up for no reason?
Then what's funny, the reason it didn't age well is because he's like, then I was treated for brain, lung, and testicular cancer all at the same time, overcame that, and then won the Tour de France 5 times. It's because he was doping, and he's since had all of those wins stripped.
But he did still have cancer, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, there's that, I guess.
Yeah. He's like, but you go ahead.
You probably have a good reason for giving up.
You probably have a good reason for quitting. I know this decision won't haunt you forever. Like, it's so funny and it's so fucked up, but I was like, yeah. And then back to, I guess, Justin and them, they win the cheerleading match.
Yeah.
I don't know how they knew that they won in that moment, because, like, there was no, like...
I know.
Yeah.
Just the way they cheered, I guess. But Justin runs back to them. They're already forfeiting the match because they didn't have enough players. They think they're going to lose, even by the time Peter shows up, but then the committee is able to overturn that. But anyway, they have the final match. It's what you'd expect. They end up winning because he throws...
Well, before that, they are going into sudden death from double fault.
He does like a very Star Wars, I'm gonna cover my eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's like, White, you look awful fat in those shorts.
Yeah.
White grabs his ass as he walks away.
It's like he didn't even need to say that. Like, I thought he said that, like, oh, I'm gonna get in his head, but that didn't matter.
Yeah, and then after Average Joe's wins, because he takes out, Peter takes out White.
Yeah, he does also like a Matrix dodge.
Cotton says, I have witnessed the pyramids of Egypt. I've witnessed the Great Wall of China. I have even witnessed a grown man satisfying a camel. Like, disgusting. Disgusting.
I did hear that.
Just, like, the lines, I was just like... Bleh.
Yeah. I mean, so when they win, too, Amber screams out, I love you, Justin. Hold the fuck on.
Well, what's funny is she says, Justin, I love you in the middle of the match, and then he gets hit in the face.
Oh, is that?
Out. Yeah.
Okay. I said at the end of the match, yeah. Like, no, you don't. You guys are in high school, and you guys don't even talk.
Well, that's... Don't worry, that's coming up.
Well, okay, so yeah, so they win the match, and there was actually an alternate ending where they did not win, where right there where Peter got hit by him in the end, it was just over, and that was it. And I guess test audiences didn't like that, so they changed it.
I think for this context of this movie, I wouldn't have liked it.
Oh, I disagree, but I'll get back to that in a minute.
Oh, well, that's going to be his sequel.
So, when they're celebrating as well, fucking, they bring out the winnings, like, that Peter had bet on them. First of all, why the fuck are they bringing the winnings to this court?
I think, yeah.
Because they had to show it. That would never happen. And then at the exact same time, here are your winnings, Mr. LaFleur. Like, they already had it ready.
They had $5 million in cash.
Yeah, just in the chest already for whoever won. Like, bullshit. That doesn't make any sense. And then... Kate's girlfriend or wife or something shows up, and they're like, oh, she is a lesbian. And she just makes the fucking worst joke. She's like, I'm not a lesbian. I'm bisexual. And she should have added, I'm also a cheater. Because then she just walks over to Peter to kiss him. Did you fucking make this, like, agreement with your girlfriend already?
Yeah.
Or what the fuck is going on?
I agree. It was super confusing. And then it goes to an Average Joe's commercial.
Yes.
Which, like, I like the theme of the gym. If you just want to come make some friends, lose a few pounds, and then they're, like, doing dodgeball classes. Amber is, like, 7 months pregnant in those dodgeball classes. Like, in that commercial, Amber is, like, 7 months pregnant.
Oh, shit.
So I was like,
oh my god.
Yeah.
They're in high school.
Which is fine. Like, people have kids in high school all the time, but I was just kind of surprised. I was like,
they just started their relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. It was wild. And then, at the end, at the credits, it shows White. White has gained all of the weight back. He's back to his former self, and he's eaten like a KFC chicken bucket. And he's like, hee, and then blames Chuck Norris.
People loved that line. I remember when this movie came out, all the fucking kids that saw... I didn't see it when it first came out, but I remember in school, just all the fucking kids just running around like idiots. Fucking Chuck Norris. Shut up. Stop.
I know.
What a terrible line to repeat. Anyway, what did you rate this movie?
I gave it a 3 out of 5, but now that we've talked about it, like, the more I think it's more of like a 2.5, 2.7 out of 5. But yeah.
I gave it a 2 out of 5. I fucking hated this movie.
That's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. I don't think it aged well. I think that I found this a lot funnier, like, back in the day. But now that, like, I understand the jokes more, I'm just like, it's fucking...
Well, it's insane to me. Like, I fully believed I was gonna like this movie. I mean, I had seen it before, and I just remembered liking it. I thought I was gonna like it. I expected to give it at least a 3.5, something like that, if not a 4. And I just fucking hated it. I hate Peter.
I was off put by it. It's not because I hate Peter. I was just like, how this movie's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, there's so many holes in it.
Well, for me, it's Peter. It's that thing where I mentioned this to you before. There was this period of time where they did movies where the good guy, quote unquote, would win. And the good guy was always a gross fucking piece of shit. Like Grandma's Boy. Remember we watched that? And I said the same shit. I was like, he sucks. Like, he shouldn't win. Peter does not deserve to win. White needed an attitude adjustment. That's it. I mean, White was a little gross too, but I would argue Peter's grosser than White towards Kate. maybe because Kate was around Peter more.
You're
But
hearing it here, folks. He
Peter
hates Peter
fucking
LaFleur.
sucks. I do not think Peter should have won. Fuck Peter. Average Joe's is good. The rest of them, those are good guys. Not Peter. Peter sucks. Fuck Peter.
In the end.
That's
we'll see
it.
you next time.
We still have things to do. Let's play a game.
Okay.
So, I have 6 numbers. Don't look. You're going to pick from the 6 numbers for each of us, and the numbers correspond with a character, and we are going to read the lines that you see on that screen, each as whatever character you've picked.
Okay.
So, pick a number 1 through 6.
5.
Okay, so 5, you're going to be Bill Lumberg from Office Space. If you remember, that's Gary Cole's character. The boss walks around. And then pick a number for me.
3.
So I'm going to be Brandon from Zack and Miri Make a Porno. That's Justin Long's character. You can do either one. Do you want to start off? Do you want to do Cotton's line or Pepper's line?
I feel like yours might be funnier if you read that first, right?
Okay, well, I'll do Cotton and you reply as Pepper. I'm being told that Average Joe's does not have enough players and will be forfeiting the championship match.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Okay. I like it. All right, the next one, pick another number.
1.
1 is White Goodman, so from this movie. You're going to be that, and then pick another.
A 6.
That's Milton from Office Space. Played by
right.
Stephen Root.
Would you like me to read the White Goodman line or the Peter LaFleur
Well, I guess don't
line?
read the White Goodman line, because that would be too easy. So you read it as White Goodman, but you read Peter LaFleur's line.
You really think you can come in here and buy me out? White, you're a lot dumber than I thought.
I'm going to have to get close to the mic for mine, because I feel like Milton talks low.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I'm a lot dumber than you thought that I thought that I was once.
He does talk. That had a little Bobby Boucher to it.
Oh, my bad. All right, last one.
Mine wasn't good either.
So you have to pick between either 2 or 4.
I guess 4.
Okay. So you're JP from Grandma's Boy, played by...
Beep, boop, boop,
yes,
beep.
yes,
Right.
played by Joel David Moore. And so then I'm Derek Zoolander.
That's good because I've never seen Zoolander.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
oh, okay, my bad. Okay.
So it's probably a good thing that I got what I got.
So do you want to do Peter's lines or White's lines?
White.
Okay. You need some help leaving, White?
This doesn't concern you, LaFleur.
Not nearly as much as your hair does, that's for sure. But, I believe she asked you to leave.
I get it. You caught the scent of a lesser stag in your nostrils. Pity. I'll let you have your little moment, LaFleur, because after this tournament, your gym, your life, and your gal are gonna be mine. To be continued.
I think that those lines worked good for JP in general. Like, those just seem like him.
Because he doesn't talk like that all the
He
time.
doesn't, but, you know. He does, like, the robot noises when he's walking away.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Okay. So, should we do sequels?
Yeah.
Okay. Up until this point, from the game on, if you heard a noise in the background, my apologies. Should be good now. But we're just going to have to continue from here. Don't hate us.
All right, so my sequel, it's a direct sequel. I titled it Dodgeball 2, The Legend of the 5Ds. It's been about 20 years since Average Joe's won the Dodgeball tournament, and, Peter took over Global Gym, made it Average Joe's, all of that. And he still owns and runs that gym, but everyone else has kind of gone their separate ways, whether they're kids, they've all had families now, and, he just doesn't. He's still a lonely person. All of a sudden, White Goodman gets wheeled into the gym as wheeled as his large self.
Yeah.
And people are like, you have to do this or you're gonna die. He's very obese, and he asked Peter for help
Oh my God.
and to make amends.
Oh my God.
So Peter agrees, and over a montage of exercise and eating right, insert song here, White becomes his old self again, and then he steals Patch's scarf from the dodgeball gymnasium
Mm,
where they run dodgeball classes because he thinks it's going to help him win the national dodgeball championship, which is his redeeming moment.
okay.
He ultimately like gets himself, a team, and it's not called Globo Gym. It's, I don't know, I didn't come up with a name. I think it should be something just directly related to White because we know he's very self-involved.
Yeah.
And that's how he's going to be self-involved again. Like, Anyways, so next is going to be like Peter going and finding each of the members of the old team. Like he's going to go to Justin and say, hey, we got to do this one more time. Ultimately, the old band will get back together one last time for Patches because Peter and White have made a bet that if Peter, whoever wins the tournament, gets to keep Patch's scarf forever.
Mm, okay. I think that sounds more likely for the sequel than mine.
Yeah, I mean, I just want a direct sequel. Let me tell you what my original idea was, and like, if you like that better, sure. I didn't fully flesh it out, but I was like, White has stolen the scarf, and he's still very large, but he thinks it's gonna give him the power it gave Peter that beat him,
Yeah.
and he holds a series of like it's dodgeball matches, but it's Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah.
Dodgeball matches where they have to fight their way and win the
Like
matches
your own private
through
tournament.
through getting to White and then ultimately have to battle White in the end. Which I guess my idea is kind of the same thing, and I kept the Patches thing, but I was like, I feel like Mortal Kombat, like that's not it. Like that would make it bloody. So anyway, the Legend of the 5Ds because it's the Legend of Patches.
I see. I like it. So yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, a sequel has been announced. I mean, it's been rumored for years, and though I was just looking into it, it said that Vince Vaughn's returning, but it actually didn't say anything about anyone else.
Yeah.
Just Vince Vaughn for sure. So we'll see. But mine I titled Dodgeball 2 Fall of the Underdogs.
No, we all know where this is going because he hated Peter.
So Average Joe's gym has been steadily declining as Peter has continued his relaxed business practices. I don't see why that would change, so he's still walking around for years just like, oh yeah, you can pay me back later. He has a bigger gym now, so he's just being screwed over by more people. And after discussing his options with Kate, who works as a lawyer for Average Joe's, Peter believes this is actually going to be the end of Average Joe's. A mysterious benefactor, Stitches O'Houlihan,
Oh my god.
swoops in, offering to pay off all of Average Joe's debt. Stitches would be played by Owen Wilson. Stitches only wants one thing in return: for the winners of the 2004 International Dodgeball Open to compete in a private tournament where only the best of the best play. Peter has no choice and agrees, not seeing any downside. Meanwhile, White Goodman hears about this and sees it as his opportunity to get revenge, and then we go into a weight loss montage of him.
Oh my gosh, you copycat.
No. He's now decided this is the only reason for him to lose weight. It's been years, 20 years, and he hasn't cared, and now he's like, this is it. And so he goes into a montage losing weight. Then we go to the private island. We see the tournaments being held there. The first match of the island is Average Joe's versus the Purple Cobras, not Globo Gym Purple Cobras, just Purple Cobras. And White shows up, and I think this would be a funny joke where he shows up and he's still fat. Like you see the montage and you think, yeah, he's going to show up being fit. But because it was a last minute thing, obviously he couldn't lose weight in a little bit of time. So White shows up and he's still overweight, and he does not have any of his original team, no elite members on his team. He just has a bunch of random people he's picked up that all hate him. I'm thinking you could make a joke out of that too. Have like one guy on the team that's a personal trainer, and the personal trainer's like urging him like, you're not ready for this, you just came to me last week. Have like a fast food employee who knows him very well because he's been going there a lot, things like that. Anyway, obviously they lose to the Average Joes easily because they're ridiculous. On their way out, like the Purple Cobras, on their way out, White would make some kind of curious comment about the whole tournament and about Stitches O'Houlihan, which would lead Peter to a shocking discovery. Stitches made all of his money in dodgeball tournaments growing up, and he plans to not only pay off the debt of Average Joe's, but to buy the remaining stock in Average Joe's and force everyone that goes to Average Joe's to compete in his tournament in order to keep their membership or to gain future membership. Stitches is absolutely obsessed with Dodgeball because it was the only thing his father actually ever loved. He even earned his name Stitches for his brutality during Dodgeball games growing up. And that really is the bad guy of the movie, Owen Wilson. Reluctantly, Peter goes to White for more information, and they form an alliance. White and Peter slowly form an actual friendship, but it's not enough, as in the end, they're going to be beaten by Stitches in the final game. And at this point, this could either lead into a third movie or just fucking be done with that, and Peter and White would open up a new small nonprofit gym, and they focus on helping underserved communities full of conflict find a way to work together, because they did, even though they're not alike and they wouldn't have reasons to be friends. But, you know, I want them to lose because I hate them. I think that they didn't deserve to win in the first place.
Stitches is a good person either.
He's not. But also, he was basically abused by his father into thinking Dodgeball is the only thing that matters.
It is.
I mean, you saw what a piece of shit he seemed like. Yeah, I could see a funny, like, flashback to him being a kid and getting wrenches thrown at him. Anyway.
Pretty good. Ours had some similarities, too.
I know. I mean,
Which is, like, weird, because, like, it is kind of Mortal Kombat. Yours is, like, I was thinking also, like, Dodgeball meets Balls of Fury.
It is like
which
that,
is, like,
too.
what yours is. And, like, that was, like, my original idea was, like, Dodgeball meets Balls of Fury. And then I was like, oh.
Initially, one of my thoughts was that I was going to have White Goodman have a twin brother running the heavyweights camp, and it was going to be a heavyweights Dodgeball crossover.
I also thought that, like, White would get in shape and Peter and them would get in shape, and then something happens to their teams and they have to merge.
Yeah.
Like a very Bring It On situation.
Basically, I just had...
There's, like, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they do. Well, thank you for making it this far. We hope you enjoyed. If you were able and willing, please share our show with someone, leave us a review, or come back for more next week. If you'd like to vote on whose sequel idea was the best, come by our YouTube channel for the polls, or let us know your idea with a comment, tweet, or you can reach us at needlesssequel@gmail.com. Links, as always, will be wherever you are listening. All right, be easy, everyone. We will see you next week.
Bye!